No, I've hated his ass. We're talking about Tekashi 6ix9ine since day one. I'm so not into this new hip hop scene where he's just yelling, "Sticky blicky, on the ones of Vicky." Like, shut the fuck up,
dude.
And how is anybody considering him hard with his rainbow hair and his literally 69 tattooed all over his body? I know that's like a typical
tough
old
time in that witness protection program.
That's what I was thinking. How is he gonna? How would that happen? Obviously, yeah, you can shave your head.
They're gonna have to send him to another country.
Dude's international. He's very famous.
God, he's
just such a fucking
this
moron.
literally is why our parents as kids say, don't deal with gangs. Don't join a gang, Billy. Because this is what happens. You fuck around, and when push comes to shove, look what he's doing now.
The whole snitching mentality, or the lore that's around snitching, I understand there's honor in keeping your mouth shut. Like, that's always the most badass part of any movie or something you hear about. Like, they're questioning him and he just, I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, damn, he went down like a G, and now he's going to stay down like a G for the rest of his life. So I do fully understand somebody like, I'm trying to come home, sorry. But I don't like, he would call people out like, you're a rat, you're a snitch bitch, all this stuff, acting like he's so hard. And now he's not just singing about people in his little gang, he's calling out Cardi B. He's calling out other rappers who are like, they're in this gang too. And they're all like, don't bring me into it. This is about you.
I know. I just think it's just making a fool out of himself on the world stage, bro. I don't know. I get what you're saying too. Like, I want to come home, but like, you should know better. Like, don't be getting involved with this. Don't be.
He's dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Witness protection or not, people die in witness protection all the damn time.
Mm-hmm.
He's dead. And he, I think, is too much of a fame whore to where he wouldn't get in witness protection and immediately blow up his spot. I'm back, bitches.
I didn't mean anything I said, you know.
You know what we got to do to survive, Holmes? Here's what I don't get.
Oh, my God.
Well, first of all, he did a gay porn. It's confirmed. And whenever he's asked about it, he just avoids it.
I think I've heard about this.
Yeah, he did. He took it up the butt. I'm 99% positive. Let me.
What?
Yeah.
How did this dude get past that to be to the ranking of whatever he was doing, and then like what? I don't understand this fool, man.
I don't understand this new generation.
Who likes this shit?
Yeah, Tekashi 6ix9ine exposed for gay porn movie. Trippie Redd, this other rapper, leaks his porno.
Trippie.
Do you know him?
No, I don't know.
I don't really know any of this new wave of rappers other than the ones who are cut from the same cloth. I feel like I sound like such a basic old school hip hop fan, but I mean, that's truly what I like.
Yo, I like this. Hold on, let's talk about this a little bit. You rap. You did.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And I think you're really good. I think you're talented because there's substance to what you're saying. I'm just going to plug you now. Just listen to it on SoundCloud.
Appreciate it.
There was a fully done project he set out to do, and I think it turned out well. Who are the two artists that you got on?
YGTUT, Tut, he's from Chattanooga.
And Boogie...
Boog Brown.
Boog Brown.
A female
she was dope.
rapper.
Like, I thought it was so cool that she took the time to write the verse that mirrored the one you did so well.
Yeah.
Because it was a very story type of song. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was really cool. But anyway, so you know your rap and everything. This is an old thing that happened a while back. But what are your thoughts on that whole Machine Gun Kelly Eminem thing?
Ooh.
Did you listen to the songs?
Of course I did.
Yeah, I thought Eminem was light years above him as far as how he construct. Because I actually watched a bunch of videos to fully understand what he wrote and everything, and I thought it just was like I thought it was crafted so well compared to Machine Gun Kelly's. Now, Machine Gun Kelly's was more of a song that you could actually ride in your car to, like, and pull up. You know, I think it had more of that vibe. But I thought Eminem's was smart. And it might not have been the most aesthetically appealing to the ears as MGK's, but I thought what Eminem had to say after I had some people help me on YouTube break it down, I thought it was like, oh my God, it makes me fucking love this way better. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's my thoughts. But I've never actually talked to you about this because I was obsessed for a little bit.
So
bro.
was I. I was in rehab when it was happening.
Yeah.
And that's all we were talking about.
Yeah, dude. Because when Kill Shot came out, I was like, oh. Granted, I had high expectations. So at first I was like, huh. I mean, I still liked it. But after I read about it, I was like, oh, I like it. He won.
In the court of public opinion, I'm talking about the broad spectrum of people. What's harder will defeat what's smarter. Hard as in, like, that's dope. I even found...
Which is...
It's crazy.
Sad.
But that's half this Tekashi 6ix9ine. I don't think so, but everybody says, like, oh, that song goes hard. And it is, like, a real pumping beat and everything. I feel like a douche with fist pumping. I feel old. I'm not even that old talking about this. But as far as MGK and Eminem goes, I think... I'm not going to say MGK won. I liked that song better, I think, in the way you explained it. I liked the way it sounded better. It was catchier. It was more of a song. Eminem's was, here's 4 minutes of bars and I'm going to dismantle you. So really, they were two...
different.
Yeah.
But I think that shows even more kudos to, obviously, Eminem. Because he's like, do you want to diss? Because then this is... I will... I don't know. The way I saw it was like he dissed him so hard that he probably was okay with people probably thinking that his song probably sounded better. And like, if you all don't even get it, then go fuck yourself. But the people who do, you know this was light years.
Yeah. The best part of that whole thing was sitting around speculating on when Eminem was going to respond.
I know.
And he took, like, I think a week or so.
Mm-hmm. That logo was great.
Yeah. He sat on it for a while. It was one of the more fascinating rap beefs of the last 5 years.
I think it was fabricated, personally. To an extent. Kind of. Not really, because then I didn't realize there was a song before the MGK one. I thought it just came out of nowhere. And I listened to that one. I thought that was good, too.
Off Kamikaze? Off his
yeah,
newest
Not
album?
Alike. Which I love that album.
I don't.
The Ringer, I thought it was great. The song, that first song. I like when he's angry.
This was the best Eminem album in a really long time.
I like when he's angry. Because that's when... I don't really listen to Eminem that much.
No.
But his angry songs get me, like, hyped. Like, I listen to him when I'm, like, maybe working out or something. I don't know.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, that's the kind... But I like when he's pissed. And that's my favorite version.
You're right.
Like, I don't really like... don't get me wrong. I think the Marshall Mathers and, like, EP and all that, like, the goofier songs that he does, I think he's still talented with how he's rapping and stuff, but I prefer Anger from him. Like, yeah, I mean, I
don't like Stan?
I do, but I like... I just
Lose
like when
Yourself. That's an angry song.
It's kind of angry, but I like the way... I don't know. I just like the way the song sounded on it. I think it's maybe because he's fucking older and he sounds angrier.
He kind of somewhat comes across as like the bitter old man rap god a little bit to me.
Yeah.
He's like get off my lawn type of raps.
Yeah, I like that shit.
But he also kind of embraces it. I think he's intelligent enough to know his age, and he's got very good self-awareness. I think most people would probably say Eminem won that battle, but you know who really won it was MGK, because that blew him the fuck up. That was the most press, most views, most streams he's ever gotten ever.
But then I also saw that the EP that dropped right after all this was like did not do well at all from him.
Probably not. I didn't listen to a single song
I didn't
of
listen
it.
to a single song of it either.
I'm not a really big MGK fan, to be honest. Since he put out that, what's wrong?
I just got a really cool text from an old friend. You want me to read it to you?
Okay.
You're going to like this. From my friend Michael Yerkes. Yo, Zach, listen to an episode of Somewhat Savants today on my sales run. Love the vibes, man. You two keep the conversations interesting and flowing. Very natural. Keep it up. I'll be looking forward to hearing more.
Well, Michael, thanks for ruining the flow of conversation during this one, pal.
Dude. Well, it's funny. We were talking about music because Michael used to, like, I remember my friend Yerk, he used to listen to rap so much, and, like, it's all you listen to. And then he started making music, dubstep.
Okay.
And he loves that shit. But anyway, I thought that was really cool that he texted right in this moment. Thought that was neat.
That's a candid moment here on Somewhat Savants.
Yeah, completely. But I don't know. I just liked, I don't know. I was fascinated by it.
So was I. It was I don't think it was fabricated because it goes back deep where MGK was tweeting about Haley and kind of spitting game at her. And that was a little strange because she was like 15 at the time.
Yeah.
Eminem's daughter looks good or some shit like that. It was a little too much. But no, I think, of course, lyrically, Eminem on his deathbed will run circles around most of the rappers.
But I thought that's what it's about. I thought that's what
It
rap
is about that.
Okay, that's what I thought it's about. So I don't understand
But
why.
in today's culture, there's many moving pieces to what constitutes a win. Because regardless, MGK, I'm sure he sold some more tickets, and I'm sure he sold more albums or EPs than he would have because of that song.
So would you say the core of rap is a dying art?
It's
because then you got people like Kendrick Lamar, who I feel like is a really lyrically good rapper. And then who's the one that Eminem recruited for his one song, who's really fast?
Joyner Lucas.
He's fucking
another
great.
One. I was thinking of him. There are people, the Joyner Lucases, the Kendricks, the J. Coles, and there's even young kids coming up. There's one guy, YBN Corday, who reminds me of a 19-year-old J. Cole.
Really?
So there's some who are still keeping it alive, but I don't know. Things change. People thought about rock and roll the same way when the Beatles were out, and then Jimi Hendrix comes. They're like, the core of rock and roll is changing. And then with Jimi Hendrix and then Nirvana comes out, the core of rock and roll is changing. But those are some people's favorite bands, and those are some people's heyday of rock and roll. So who are we as two old heads? That's what they call people who don't like the new wave, old heads.
Because I can't stand it.
I can't stand it either. And here's the thing is I can sit back and understand the Beatles for the time it was, understand Jimi Hendrix for the time it was, understand the Nirvana. This I truly just don't understand. I'm like, this is so objectively bad. Some good songs that are just trash slip through the cracks. I was watching a video. You sent me the guy who DM'd all the rappers.
Yeah. That was a cool video, I thought.
That was a good video. I watched some more of his videos, and he did one, the best rappers from every state. I'm like, that'd be interesting. But he is just so a part of that new wave of that overly auto-tuned, heavy trap synth, and it's just mumble. And like every person he picked, like he went to North Carolina. He's like, oh, J. Cole's from North Carolina? Oh, no, it's so-and-so. And it's, what does it say? What does it say? Fuck. I'm like, all these songs sound the same. And his video should have been called My Favorite Rappers from Each State. That's fair. But objective, like, and he picked some random person for California, someone random for New York, like, and that's where the legends are from.
I know. I was about to say, how can even see? And that's why, like, obviously, I'm a big fan of Atmosphere.
Yes,
And that's why I like him, because he still is a conquering force in the underground world. But like, I feel like a lot of people don't know him.
He's got his core group of fans.
Right. I mean, I'm one of them.
Macklemore helped. Macklemore was a part of that scene. I do not like Macklemore anymore.
I don't either,
at
man.
At all.
I remember you used to really like him, and
he was my guy.
he still has some songs. I mean, I still like the songs that I liked. But you're right. His newer stuff, I do not like.
He's separated from Ryan Lewis, his producer. They parted ways. I don't even know what Ryan Lewis is doing. I think he's behind the scenes with a lot of people.
Right.
He's a perfect example of somebody who I told myself, like, ride or die, I'm a true fan. Always. I pushed his shit on you, and
I know, dude. It was like,
I was obsessed. Sorry, I shouldn't have had a soda. I'm burping.
I was like, dude, come on. I'll listen to him in my own time. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
The first album, the one that won the Grammy, I didn't think deserved to win the Grammy because it was up against Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, Mad City. My opinion, I'll say it's my favorite hip-hop album of all time. Just, it's so masterfully crafted. I think it's better than his other one, To Pimp a Butterfly. Then the album after that, This Unruly Mess I Made, was decent. Had some good songs on there. I'm like, cool. Then he put out, I want to say Gemini came after that, and I was just like, I'm done. That's how fickle I was to be. Like, it was so bad.
Well, you know who I have that with? I mean, he wasn't nearly as good to begin with, but was Wiz Khalifa.
Yeah.
I used to...
You were obsessed.
Well, he would give all his music for free back in the day. And granted, we were just partying to it at the time, but it was good. Like, I liked the stuff he had, like Flight School and Cushion OJ and like even Prince of the City. That was the first time I've seen an artist evolve from like wearing like so much, like following one long enough to see their evolvement. From wearing like baggy ass shirts, like when he did Prince of the City, to like wearing like, you know, more fitted clothes, and then I remember skinny clothes, and then like after, and I've seen him live twice, back when it was like $20 to see him, $30, you know, and now obviously, I mean, now I can't stand any of the shit he makes.
No.
But back when he was more that datpiff.com.
DatPiff.
Yeah, free
DatPiff is still around. They're still putting out mixtapes.
I used to get mixtapes, but I remember getting
I put
mixtapes.
my shit on DatPiff.
Did you?
Yeah, I think so.
Is it still there?
Maybe.
Download it. But anyway, but yeah, now I'm like, I don't even.
It's been a long day.
Without you, my friend.
Are we allowed to hate on that song though, because it's about Paul Walker?
No, that song's, I mean, it pulls your heartstrings. Like, listen, there's some mainstream songs that are like, that still know how to evoke emotion.
Pop songs, pop stands for popular. It's a popular genre. They're meant to formulaically be pleasing to the ear. There's a reason they're played over and over, and a lot of them are good. But John Mayer is a guy who really talks about it a lot of the time. There is a formula of chord progression. Then there's deviations in there, so not all songs sound the literal exact same, but they follow the same format. And that's why they're popular.
It's like the hero format of a movie script.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's going to work.
That's why when anomalies break through, like Macklemore at the time, people think like, oh, he started making poppy music. His music was always had a little element of corniness to it, but it was endearing. And then he had the real deep, heavy hitters, and his music struck even more true with me when I went through my battles with addiction, because that's what he's gone through. Now, there's one artist who has stood the test of time for me. Seen him twice. And this actually parlays into a fan question we had, which I'll ask that here in a second. But John Bellion.
Still love John Bellion.
Still love him.
He just teamed up with Illenium, which is a DJ or a producer I really like now.
He did it with Zed.
Yeah, he did with Zed too.
Yeah.
I heard that song. But I like John Bellion, even though he's getting more popular and the songs are getting more popular. They're just so raw, his lyrics and shits, and different.
Morning in America.
Oh, that dude! Remember when that album came out? We were losing our fucking shit.
We were
You're the
blasting
one
it.
that showed me John Bellion.
Yeah, I found him.
What was
off
the first one? The Human Condition, or was that the newest one?
The Human. It went.
The one that you sent me, like, oh, the new one. We were like both at our peak with listening to
That
him.
was
Good Morning America or Morning in America.
That was the Human Condition.
Okay, that was the Human Condition. The one before that, I can't remember what it was called.
The Separation.
Yeah.
And the one before that was Translation Through Speakers.
Okay.
That's where I found him. I was following some random college hip hop page and trying to get them to post my stuff. And they posted about him. I was like, And I went and looked it up. This is right after his first EP came out. And just hooked immediately. He was smart because he did not tour until he knew he had a fan base. He's like, I have respect for people who go out there and perform for 8 people. I'm not going to do that. So he became internet famous, and then the demand was there.
And then he had sold out shows immediately.
Exactly.
Or sold out shows immediately.
So,
real quick before you ask the question, to this day, one of the most deep songs is that New York Soul, and that video.
Incredible,
dude. It just speaks so much volumes to what he is probably dealing with now, especially now that he's even bigger. But like that video with his family at the table, he's running and like all the money and like the dancers and shit.
Masterful video,
dude. Watch my niece grow up through Instagram.
Such a great song, such a great album, such
and
a
it's
great
like 2 minutes
artist.
long, but it's like dun 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 dun, and I'm like, here we go, goosebumps already. Hasn't even said a word yet.
Yeah, incredible. So, at Hey Dude, It's Tanner, great name, asked, what
hey,
are
dude,
your...
It's Tanner.
I don't know. What are your craziest meeting a celebrity stories? So...
Do you have one?
It's not necessarily crazy. I'll tell it real quick since we're on the subject of Bellion. And then I feel like you do. You get these random encounters where you're like, oh, hey.
I've met quite a few people.
Hey, Carly Fiorina. That we've told that story, beating a dead horse. I went and saw John Bellion, and I saw him 2 times, and I'll kind of mix the 2 stories together. The first time I was like, I'm getting drunk. So I went and got a couple shots of whiskey. I had a migraine. I thought it was going to explode. I saw him at the Social in Orlando.
Damn!
That's literally put 2 of these rooms together.
Yeah, it's not big.
Super small.
I've seen Gary Laser Eyes there plenty of times.
I saw Gary.
I saw Zach Deputy there just recently.
I saw Gary Laser Eyes there once. I wanted you to go and you bailed.
That's right.
Whatever. So he was doing a free meet and greet after the show, and I made sure I was like, I'm going to be last. I want to
take the time.
Yeah, I want to try to talk to him. So I was almost last. There, you could tell there was people hanging back, like trying to do what I was doing. One of the guys was rapping for one of his guys. I'm like, I thought about that.
Someone was rapping in front of him for him?
Yeah, and he just sat there and listened. He wasn't good.
I gotta give kudos to that guy because that's.
He just sat there. He's like, okay, but I'm sure he gets rapped to all the time.
That's just putting yourself out there on a whole nother level.
Yeah, I thought about it, and then I decided.
Kudos to you, man, and kudos to you for thinking about it.
Yeah, because
I would never do it. I couldn't do it.
The problem is, I think I would have impressed him, but it's just he gets that so much.
Because in your mind you're hoping it's going to lead to something. You're probably thinking this is it.
Do you know why we think it'll lead to something? That's how Big Sean got discovered. He rapped for Kanye.
Oh shit!
And now he's Big fucking Sean.
Yeah, Big Sean. Okay, fair enough.
Met him too. He's a very cool guy. That's another story. All mine have to do with where I paid money for meet and greets. But I hung back, got to talk to John Bellion a little bit, told him, hey man, you've helped me with a lot of things. Just you're helping me get through life. And he was so genuine and appreciative. Like he looked me in the eyes. He's like, wow. And he said, I remember looking at you in the show. You were like connected, man.
Nice.
Because I was just, as queer as it may sound, I just told myself like, I'm giving my self. I almost said my body. I don't mean it in that way. I'm just giving myself up for this man and his performance in this show. I just had my hands in the air. I just screaming all the lyrics. Like he's my guy. I was just into him. And to be able to see him on his first tour in like a 90, you think even 90 people can fit in there? Probably about that.
No, because you got to think, there's not only the floor, there's that upper level.
Yeah, it was packed.
And then it can go to the other bar on the other side.
Right.
So people can come in and out.
And he had his whole band there. They were fucking rocking. It was a great show. But I met him, talked to him. He was so intentional. That's the one word I would use to describe him, as intentional. He just looked at you with purpose.
Those are the kind of people that get far.
And he like dapped me up a couple times. I got a photo with him. And then when I went to hug him goodbye, he just goes, "See you soon." I'm like, what does that mean?
That's dope.
It is,
bro.
And I took that as that's a sign, because I was making music at the time. We're going to see him soon, but maybe we'll see him soon on this podcast.
See him soon. Hey, it could be we don't know in what form that might be.
I don't know.
That's a dope story. I don't remember. I think you told me that, but I just forgot the ending part of that
you don't
story.
listen to things I say.
No, I don't.
What is a crazy celebrity story you have?
Well, I have a few. I've met Glenn Beck.
I know that.
I met that. That story is not that crazy. I have one that I'm going to say it's crazy that just happened recently. But the second craziest is probably just getting to work with Josh Radnor, Ted Mosby.
Yeah.
Like, I've worked with him before on set.
Explain who he is for people who don't know.
How I Met Your Mother. He plays Ted Mosby.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, I had 2 scenes with him. And then
nice guy?
Yeah, he was cool. He was really cool. And then I got to meet no, we didn't meet Norbert Leo Butz. It was basically just Josh Radnor and who else was on the I don't think we actually met the rest of them.
On the show, Mercy Street.
Mary Elizabeth Weinstein. She was on the show. She's from Zach Pilgrim, I'm pretty sure, that movie, or
Scott Pilgrim.
Zach Pilgrim. But anyway, it mainly Josh Radnor, because we had scenes with him. So that was that one, and then, which was a dope story, actually, like, working with one of them.
Yeah.
But just what happened recently was Tony Baker, my comedian from Instagram, that I really like.
Like your favorite comedian.
Yeah, I mean, he's my favorite. I'd never seen a stand-up. So
right.
Until just recently. So I knew he did comedy, but I know him from animal voiceovers. And I think they're fucking hilarious. Like, I've discovered him like maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And it was a video just on YouTube of this raccoon coming up to these cats that were all eating cat food. And this raccoon like walks up and like takes a little handful of their food, and he's like dipping it in their water dish, and he's eating it from his hands. And then the raccoon goes to leave, but he comes right back, grabs some more food, and then walks off with it in his hands. So he voiced this over, and it's fucking hilarious. Like, I would quote it with my brothers and sisters, and I'm like, "Yo, y'all having a cookout?" He's like, "Oh, y'all be good now, praise God." Like, we'd say all the little quotes. But anyway, I just saw the one video, and then one day I stumble across it. Another one. I'm like, that's the same dude. I'm like, I got to figure out his name. And I found it out on YouTube. It said Tony Baker. And I was like, all right, cool. And I watched a few on YouTube. And then I found him on Instagram. And I was like, oh, that's all he posts is animal voiceovers pretty much. And like he has a podcast too called Daddy Issues.
Oh, okay.
With Keon Poli, I found out. So I found that out. And then he does skits and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then he has like little snippets of stand-up. So I was like, oh, so he does do stand-up. And he had like, 1 million followers. So I follow him. And I was like, damn, he's more popular than I thought. So I just followed him for like a year on Instagram. Me and Sky just watch all his fucking videos, crack up. Like, I got her hooked on him. Her mom thinks it's funny. Like, I show everyone. Gatorland, working at Gatorland with animals.
You told me about it.
Yeah, I told you about it. I show everyone at Gatorland. Like, my friend Peter Gamble, he loves it just as much as I do. So I'm pretty much like, every time I see one funny, and like most of the time, and it's interesting because it's a 50-50 when I show someone. It's usually people don't think it's funny as much as I do. But what makes him so good, it's not like just a classic voiceover. It's down to the nuanced behavior of the animal, and it's just the naturalistic voiceover of what he did for the video. It may not be like slapstick punchline funny right out the gates, but just like it's almost as if these animals are truly talking. And I think that's so funny because it's so good based on what's happening in the video. So anyway, so it's 50-50 when I show someone. But anyway, so I've been telling them that we need to get him in the park because Gatorland gets people into the park quite often. And especially with Savannah working there lately, because she's on the radio and she's got some pull. And so, Harlan Williams was there. Like, Omar Gosh on YouTube, he was there. Shaq has been coming for many years. Yeah, Shaq's been coming, but of course he did a video with Savannah last time he came. He's probably the biggest celebrity that's ever been to. I actually never met him. I've been at the park while he's been there.
I've met him when I was in like 6th grade. He's a cool guy.
Yeah, he's cool, and he's actually a EDM. He's heavily involved with that right now.
I see those videos.
He's like he just played at Celine in downtown, and
shout out.
But he's tours. He's like good friends with Nightmare, which is like my favorite fucking DJ right now. But anyway. So Shaq's been there. We have a lot of football players come through. I'm trying to think of the last one who came through. He played for Denver. One of their more famous players. Anyway.
Von Miller?
Yes. Yeah, it was him. He came. So it's shit like that. So anyway, Tony Baker was announced a tour, and he was coming to the Orlando Improv, and I just told Sky, I'm like, we have to go. We've been watching his videos for like a year. We are fans. Like, we will spend an hour watching voiceovers, the same ones, We have to go. So we're like, we're going to go. So the weekend's coming up, and I'm like, haven't bought the tickets yet, but we're like planning for it to go on Saturday or whatever. And I was like, I'm going to, because at the Improv, the comedians stay after, and you can meet him sometimes.
Oh, okay.
Like Chad Daniels did it. Because we've seen Chad Daniels and Dan Cummings, and they both stayed after. And so I knew that he'd probably stay after. And I'm like, I'm going to tell him to come to Gatorland if he's there, if he stays after. And she's like, yeah, it's a good idea. Well, Friday was the second night he was there. He did Thursday night show. Friday, he hops on the radio with Savannah on the Monsters. And Sky was listening on the way to work, and I guess they had said that he was going to come to Gatorland. And she had texted me. She's like, Tony Baker's on the Monsters, and she's like, he's going to come to Gatorland. I'm like, shit. And she's like, on Sunday. I guess that was the day that they were saying. So I'm like, oh, shit. I'm like, all right, that means, because we were debating on whether we should go to the show on Sunday or Saturday. I'm like, that means we're going Saturday, because I want to meet this motherfucker first.
Right.
Before he comes to the park, I want to set the tone. And I want him to know I work there so he can expect me to be there. So I go, see the show, and first off, have no expectations because all I know is voiceovers and a couple of snippets from his stand-ups. And it was actually really funny. And Keon Poley, the dude who toured with him and opened for him, he's funny as hell too. I was like, damn, like I would see them again. And so, and what I loved about it wasn't like Dave Chappelle. Like shocker type comedy, like they would cuss and stuff, but it was like genuinely like just I don't know, it was unique comedy. It was like I think he even talked about it at one point himself on like his social media. He said that he likes doing stuff that he genuinely finds funny,
right?
And because we're such fans of the voiceover and the way he like talks, I could hear what the voiceover sound. It was just funny all around. It was funny to see it manifested into a different form of art. Stand-up comedy. So thoroughly enjoyed it. We laughed and everything. So we were in a great spot in the Improv. We were towards the back because first off, I didn't expect that many people to show up. It sold out.
Damn.
Sold out. So I was like, damn, I'm glad I bought my tickets earlier in the day, And there was a line to get in. And we get in, we were in the back because we got there kind of late. And we had sat towards the back end, and right there in the back corner is where you go out to meet them after the show. Like where you exit the Improv theater when you're done. It's the same exit way. I remembered from the last 2 times. So I was like, Sky, we're in a good spot. We're going to be, because there's going to be a line. Because that's kind of why we didn't stay for Chad Daniels and Dan Cummings, because the line was so long. By the time we got out there, it was like, I just want to go. It's on like midnight. And, but I was like, all right, perfect. We get out. We were like 4th person in line, because we like hustled, when the show was over. And he came out. And, you know, they were selling their shirts, and the shirt was like living lavish. It was dope. And we get out there, and it was funny because right at the gates, like some girl wanted to buy one of his shirts, his last one. And he was like, oh shit, I got to get my iPad. And he like had to leave, go get the thing to do the sale, and then come back.
Yeah.
It was just kind of cool, you know, to see all this happening. We're like, oh shit. So we go up. I talked to him like, oh, I was like, what up, dude? And he's like, hey, you know, what up? And I'm like, yo, me and my girlfriend, we're big fans. Like, we watch your videos all the time, dude. It's so funny. I was glad I got to finally see you do stand up because I haven't seen any of it. And he was like, oh yeah, you know, thanks for coming out. And I was like, yo, but she told me she heard you on the radio on Friday that you said you were gonna come to Gatorland or whatever. And I was like, I was like, you totally should. I was like, I work there, so if you do, you know, we'll hook you up, do whatever, you know, go see the Gators, like go inside the exhibits, do whatever, you know. He's like, what? You work there? And he's like, word, I definitely want to come. And I was like, all right, cool. I was like, yo, let's get this picture. We got a picture. And I was like, but really though, for real, big fans. And I didn't push it on him. I was just like, I just threw it out there and just kind of left it at that. And I went and met Keon Poli too because I thought he was funny. It was worth meeting him too. And then we left. And I was like, oh, we'll just see what happens. And that's kind of like where I left it. I was like, if he shows up, he shows up. I mean, in my head, I was like, knew Savannah and Mike were going to take control of that tour, obviously, because that's what they do. So anyway, Sunday comes around the next day, and we're like, I'm content. Like, I was like,
yeah, it's a nice meeting.
It's a nice meeting. Like, I'm content. So I'm like, it's cool. Like, I met him, and it's dope. Like,
right.
I'm happy. Whatever happens Sunday. Well, Sunday comes around. I was telling everyone because I invited everyone from work to come. I was the only one that went.
Damn.
No hating on my coworkers, but I was the only one that went. I mean, like, I guess I am the only true fan.
Hey.
So me and Sky were the only ones that went. But anyway, so I was telling them how the show went. They're like, oh, that's so cool, dude. You know, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just on Instagram chilling at like 11, and I got a message. And I went to go look. And, oh, I forgot to say this. We posted the picture on Instagram, and I tagged them and stuff in it. And they'd commented on my photo, which I thought was even cool. I was like, oh, that's cool, too. You know, like, they were like, yes, thanks for coming, yada, yada, yada. So, anyway, next day, fast forward, I get a message. It's from fucking Tony Baker in my inbox. And I'm like, oh, shit. I, like, open that up. I'm like, what do you have to say? And all it said was, you work today? And I'm like...
Keep it short and sweet.
I'm like, the fuck you? Hell yeah, I work today. I'm like, yeah, I'm here right now. And I was like, you gonna roll through? And I just said, yeah, I'm here now. I'm like, let me know if you come through. And then like 30 minutes, and he wrote back like, yeah, I'm about to eat. And then I'm thinking about heading over. And I was like, yeah, word, let me know.
You're trying to play it cool.
Yeah, I'm just trying to play it cool. I'm just like, and then like I left it at that. And then like 30 minutes goes by again. He goes, about to head over, be 20 minutes away. And I'm like, oh shit, he's coming. And then so I was like, why is he not talking to Savannah? That was my first thought, because like she arranges these things.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, did you talk to Savannah? Like, does she plan on meeting you at the front, or like what's the deal? Because that day she had come into our little area at work and was asking how the show was and if he was coming to Gatorland. She asked me. And I'm like, I don't know.
She didn't go to the show?
No.
Wow.
So... And she asked me, and I was like, I don't know. I told him to. We'll see. So that was earlier in the day. But anyway, so I asked him if Savannah knew he was coming. He's like, I sent her a message, but she hasn't answered. And I was like, okay. Well, if she doesn't answer, let me know when you get here. I'll meet you at the front. And he was like, all right. And then like 30 minutes later, he goes, just parked. I'm like, all right, I'm on my way up. So I brought him in. And at that point, Savannah and Mike show up. And then we do this whole tour with him. Bring him into all the enclosures. He meets like Pearl, Chester. You know, if you guys look at Gatorland vlogs, I'm telling you, you can if you want to. They can be entertaining. You'll know all these animals I'm talking about because they all have names and they're stars of the videos on YouTube because they have quite a following now. They've got like, you know, thousands and thousands of subscribers.
More than us.
And so anyway, he gets to meet all these guys, Pops and everything. And then Eugene, who we're trying to get on, he does comedy locally, and he headlines some clubs every now and then, like here in Ocala, he's headlining stuff, and he's done work at the Improv. Mm-hmm. And he had worked that day, too, and I told him what was going on. He's like, all right, word. I was like, yeah, dude, when you're done with the show, come meet up with us. Because I pretty much crashed this tour, and I just was like there the whole time, yeah.
Yeah.
And I had Eugene meet us towards the end, and Eugene's like, oh, what up? He's like talking to Tony Baker at this point and tell him he does comedy. And then we're wrapping up this tour because like me and Eugene actually have to do a show in like 10 minutes. And we're trying to get Tony to come down to watch our show, but Savannah's trying to get him to come up to the front so she can airdrop him all the photo. It was this weird like diverging of like things, which usually is probably not their problem because they don't usually have us crashing their media tours.
Right.
So, but I had to. And so we get towards the end, and right when we're about to split ways, like me and Eugene have no other choice because we cannot do the show. It's our job. And and right before we leave, he goes, to Eugene, he goes, what are you doing tonight? He goes, you want to do a spot? And he goes, I'll give you 7 minutes. Told Eugene, was like, he gave him a chance to open for his show that night.
Wow.
So Eugene was like, yeah, I'll do it. So he's like, all right, words, I'll see you there. And then so I'm like, yo, and I was like, one more picture. And I like got in the middle and like selfied us all. And I was like fanboying hardcore. So we said peace. Thank you for coming. All that. We go do our show. And then Eugene's like, I got to get someone to do the last show for me at work so he can get out there and get ready. Because the show was early that night. It was 7 o'clock. And we get off at like 5:30. So he gets out of there. And then I sent one more message to Tony Baker just to say one final thank you. Like, yo, dude, thanks for coming out. It was dope. Really appreciate you. And then he wrote back and was like, man, he goes, you guys were so awesome. You guys made me feel at home. All this, you guys, and I had mentioned like I might come to the show again tonight since he offered the show for Eugene to open because I've never seen Eugene do comedy at this point.
Yeah.
So I was like, dude, I would really like to go see that, And I said I might come out, and then he was like, I'll put you on my guest list. Who you bringing? And I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. I was like, me and my girl, it's just us. And he's like, all right, word. And he goes, I'll see you all tonight. And then like he sure as shit, me and Sky show up. And it's funny because I had an audition to do. I had to like go home, film this audition, then get the fuck out of there.
Yeah. And
we get to the box office, and I was like, and it's crowd's dark. We're the minorities.
That's okay.
And I get up to the window. We're on the guest list. I know. And then he was just like, oh, 2 tickets. And he's like, there you go. I'm like, word.
Who's this white boy on Tony Baker's guest list?
I know. It was
That's
great.
hilarious.
It was hilarious. So we get in, see the show. Best part is they did different jokes. They switched it up. They switched it up. Eugene did his little bit. He was good. And it was just all around dope ass night. And you know what's so funny? That night they didn't come out afterwards because they were really tired. And Eugene came out to tell me that, and I was like, dude, I'm glad we came to the show before.
That's crazy.
So yeah, that was my latest celebrity story, and it was dope, man. Like, it was so cool. Like, it was cool. It was like a way of meeting someone that you like in entertainment, how it could go, like the best way. It literally went as best it could go.
So many times they say don't meet your heroes, don't meet the people you like because they end up being assholes.
Nah, dude, he's so down to earth. He's so fucking cool.
That I don't have a story that could top that.
Damn.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool, and hopefully he sees this shit, dude. He followed me on Instagram, so I mean, whenever
Maybe
I post
we'll send
something,
it to him.
But yeah, no, that's mine.
Let me get to.
You got another one?
Yes. Let's see. A lot of people
real quick while you're looking that up.
Yeah.
The toothpick crossbow came in.
From episode 3.
Yeah, 10 years later, it finally came in.
Shoot it at the camera. Do not break my fucking camera.
Hold on, I'm going to shoot it at the camera.
Do they have to use those little toothpicks?
No, I can use any toothpick, but these have like a little back on them to where it like...
You won't kill something?
No, so where it fucking sits in here nice. You hear that? Hold on. Listen to this click. Ready? I'm drawing it back. Oh, yeah.
That's quality.
Slide it in here. I was pissed because when it came in, it was in like 3 pieces. I had to put it together, and I'm like, this better be fucking easy.
Wish.com's
All right,
finest.
Here we go.
Oh, shit. That ended up over there.
I know, and I hit the lens.
Did you really?
Yeah. I'm pretty
that
sure.
would be a good little shot.
But anyway.
All right.
It's a cool desktop ornament. It was $2 I don't care.
I can't hate on it that much. I just like giving you a hard time.
Yeah, I know.
All right. We've got 2 questions from @the_giant hobbit. Which one do I want?
What are the questions?
The first one is, should genetic engineering / cloning be legal and studied? And then the next one is, should sex work be legalized and taxed? I think...
Like prostitution?
Yes. Let's go with that one. Let's lean into the difficulty. First of all, I've fully admitted that sometimes I have tendencies to drop Joe Rogan-esque comments, ideas. I own that. I'm trying over here. You start a fucking podcast and tell me how it goes. This question was sent to us, not planted, and it's a Joe Rogan-esque type of thing, mainly because he's talked about it. And sorry, when you have literally tens of thousands of hours of talking,
you're bound to hit one of these topics.
Exactly.
Well, here we have a little bit of unbiasedness, if we're going to say there is any, because I've never seen those episodes. I don't know what he said about it.
Perfect.
So
you're not a true fan.
I'm not.
That's okay.
Well, what are your thoughts on this?
I think prostitution...
Give me your thoughts so I can form my opinion based on your thoughts.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
I think it should 100% be legal. Why not? Rogan has made the point, which I agree with. We can pay somebody to massage your whole body, but if they touch your penis, then it's against the law. Or you can go find a random girl at a bar. You both agree we want to have sex with each other. Fine. But if money is exchanged, then all of a sudden it's a no-no and it's illegal. Why?
I think in those kind of scenarios, maybe it's okay. But I guess the way I pictured like side of the road, street corner, classic prostitution. Because I think the only thing that maybe is a downfall is if it's legal and it is a legal form of gaining money, then like it might influence younger women to think, well, I'll just do that.
That's true.
That we don't, I think maybe that would make it a little bit more okay. And there's always a plan B, you know, you can always go stand on like,
there always is that plan B regardless.
Right. Stripping, that's legal though.
Yeah. Even though
that's why I say I'll just be, you know, the whole cliche with being a stripper.
Yeah, but being a stripper, I don't think I'm not going to say being a prostitute is easy. I think the average person...
You just might as well just get into porn. Well, I guess if you don't... then the world can see it.
I've heard porn is a vicious industry.
I bet it is.
And it's very cutthroat. Where
it probably is. Yeah, I believe that.
It's
kind of like breaking into acting.
Yeah. Well, it is like acting or modeling. It is acting. You're just getting fucked. Once you can't offer what they want, they're done with you. They throw you to the wayside. Now, the same thing does happen in acting and modeling. Not to diverge too far off the point, but fuck it. I said wherever the conversation goes, it goes. So I went to this modeling expose. Stupid as fuck. It was dumb. You know who told me about it? It was Yali. Remember Yali?
Rodriguez.
One of the girls we took an acting class with.
She was from the original group.
Yeah, she's
cool. I
fucked with Yali heavy, but I don't fuck with... It wasn't her fault.
She's just ignorance. Shouldn't know.
It wasn't her fault because I bought into it too. She heard one of those
on the radio.
On the radio, you could be on Disney Channel.
Come to the Melbourne Mall. We'll have a booth in the middle of the courtyard.
This was the Embassy Suites in Orlando. Or no, the Doubletree. The Doubletree.
It's just $500 for an agent.
So I waited forever. They brought out some Disney star like, hey, oh yeah, this is great. And went up there, did my monologue, and checked that. I was like, I could do modeling because my mom's always like, you're so handsome. So I figured I'll do modeling. The guy who was a Drake Bell wannabe from Drake and Josh looked just like him, wannabe. And his big thing was, I was just in the movie Malibu. Like,
wait, this kid was saying that?
yeah.
He was saying that while you were there?
Yeah, that was his big selling point. He had like a little plaque that said it, as seen in Malibu. I'm like, what the fuck is that, dude? What straight to DVD nonsense are you in? And he had the balls to tell me, he's like, I saw you checked modeling. You're a little too big. I was like, oh, it's like, yeah, you could probably lose about like 30, 40 pounds.
Bro, I would have lost my shit. How old were you?
When I was doing Truthful, so I had to.
Oh, damn, you were a grown-ass man. Ignorance, bro, I know.
I was crushed. I was like, oh.
I would have been like, brother, stay in your fucking lane and keep your mouth shut. It's on the agenda, all right? I'm on Atkins. Fuck yourself.
I wasn't on Atkins. Now,
dude, that would have pissed me off.
Yeah, but they called
me. There's the
me.
vanity. I can't stand the industry sometimes.
It's awful. They called me, and I forget the exact wording, but they're, congratulations, you've been selected. I'm like, what? This is my fucking big
as well
break.
As everyone who applied.
And they said, all right, can we have your mailing address again so we can
collect all your money,
send you some stuff for payment? And I said, like all the money I'll be making? And then there was a long pause. Well, and then they went into their big spiel of what it costs. I'm like, oh, goodbye.
Actually,
all the money
do you want to be a Scientologist?
Bro, essentially the same thing.
I know, but dude, I never trust those modeling calls. I learned early on, thank God. Because that's where they get a lot of people, dude.
Big time.
That's where they get a lot of people. They get you, and then they want money. Like, look, if you're trying to break into industry where you need an agent, you don't pay your agent, just so you know. The agent gets a cut of what you make from gigs. Right. No ifs, ands, or buts. Like, they don't get money from you unless you make money. So it doesn't cost anything to have one. You don't pay them a monthly fee. Now, you might have to pay fees for certain databases to keep your shit online, like, you know, for casting networks or something, or modeling networks. I don't fucking know what the modeling shit is, but that's different. But that's your self-investment into your business. But your agent gets nothing unless you make money from gigs. That's just how it goes. But that's what they get you, man.
Yeah.
That's all I needed was your credit card information.
I didn't give it to
them. And then they would have
him.
been like, what the...
Back to the original question. I diverted on that, sorry. Where it gets tricky with sex work is sex trafficking. And I don't...
Which is scary, dude.
It's very scary. And I don't...
See, but that's different, though. That's against people's will.
Right. And I don't know if legalization would necessarily make a dent in sex trafficking. It possibly could. I think it's along the same lines of...
I think it would make it worse.
Yeah?
Yeah, because then the people they recruit...
sex trafficking would still be illegal. But then I guess how do you know or not know they're a part of a ring? That's
what I'm saying. Then it might be harder to determine what's an illegal ring or not. Because they could make them all have fake alibis and shit of like, no, I'm willingly doing this. You know? And
sadly, a lot of prostitutes I've met, I've met a lot of girls who have resorted to that to make money to fuel a drug habit. And I, in full disclosure and honesty, if I was a girl and that was an option for me and I got desperate enough, I could see the mental space of like, all I got to do is blow this guy and then I'll get the money so I can get the heroin that I'm desperately wanting and that's all I can think about. I'm not judging at all.
See, but then that, to me, that's just enabling. So you want to do everything in your power to keep people from getting their hands on that shit. So I'm a big no on that. Then that's the reason. Then definitely not legalize. You know?
What do you think about legalizing or decriminalizing all drugs? Would the same effect go into play? Would it stop the cartels the way a lot of people are saying it would? Or would it just create a more convoluted mess?
I think maybe in the long run, it might help it, but I think in the transition period, it'd be a convoluted mess. I think people would go buck wild, fucking crazy.
I think you're right.
Until it would die out. I think that's what would happen, but it would take time.
I can get cocaine. I can get meth.
Right.
I can get heroin.
I think people would die. A lot of people would die.
Yes.
And then, like, I think the craze of it would, like, slowly dim out, but it would take so much time. And, like, are we willing to go through that ugly period of that transition?
I'd be curious to see if there was some type of statistic on the alcohol poisonings after Prohibition got lifted. Meaning, no, I know a lot of people were still moonshining and drinking during Prohibition, but once they re-legalized it, did everyone just go buck fucking wild?
That's a good thing to find out.
It's essentially the same thing because we drive past ABC Liquor, the gas station, Publix Liquor, wherever, Beverage Barn, and you're not just like, there it is. Well, you might be, but we don't go that crazy over alcohol. And right now, you could go to the grocery store and buy enough Jack Daniels to drink yourself to death tonight.
Well, here's the thing. Maybe it did happen because maybe back then there wasn't laws against like operating motor vehicles while drunk, and then like it led to regulation, different types. You know what I mean? So maybe people did get fucking drunk and were like dying of alcohol poisoning. People were like crashing into people and killing people, and they're like, "Oh fuck! All right, well,
yeah,
we'll leave it lifted, but we gotta fucking rein this in a little bit. You can't drive anymore if you're gonna do it. You can't. You know, it probably manifests itself in different ways."
Yeah, I wish we had our producer here to be able to
pull that shit up. I know.
Sky, we need you.
She's working.
Someone's got to make the fucking money out of you too.
Oh god.
Same with my wife.
Why? Embarrassing me like that.
We're both in the same boat. No, the thing is, everybody talks about Portugal decriminalized all drugs, not legalized, but you will not go to prison for having heroin and stuff. Now, the key component to that is they took all the money that they would have spent persecuting drug addicts and are now pouring it into programs
to get people off the drugs.
Treatment. They give little micro loans like I'll use me. I would get out of rehab for whatever, and I want to start a business. The government of Portugal would give me a micro loan to help me with that. Or they would go, I get out, I'm a mechanic by trade. That's what I want to do. That's where I'm passionate about life. They'd go to you who owns the mechanic shop and say, look, we'll pay half of his wages if you agree to hire him for 1 year. And if he fucks up, obviously. But they take all the money they spent disconnecting and put it into reconnecting.
See, that's taking action in the most positive way you possibly can.
Right. And it goes beyond...
Instead of just like, bad, sell.
Yeah. And it goes beyond just decriminalizing it.
Right.
So maybe if they could follow suit with prostitution in the same way... I don't know. I guess you could decriminalize it, and if you're caught doing it or caught receiving it, you get a fine. But then they have programs to help these girls get off the street and get them into a different profession. But here's the other thing: who are we to say that profession's not honorable? It's not right. You got to do something else. Many girls are out there because they're good at it. They've made that choice, and that's what they want to do. So who are we to say you can't have sex with people for money?
Yeah, I guess that's true.
It's a very nuanced, weird issue here.
But then that's like a certain type of person. I mean, there's probably plenty of them out there who are like going mentally crazy doing it. Yeah.
I know most of the stories about girls who got into porn were many were actresses, similar to like what you want to do.
Who didn't make it?
They were having a tough time, and then it was presented to them, hey, you can do some modeling for me. Hey, more money if you topless model. Hey, if you do this movie.
And then before you knew it, you're like,
yeah, you can get $3,000, and that's more money than you've ever seen at once. I get it.
Yeah.
But porn is fascinating. Have you ever seen the documentaries like After Porn Ends?
No.
It's sad. It's really sad because it's very similar to regular acting because you get these superstars who pick what they want to do and all this stuff. And then there's other ones like if you don't do anal today, you're not getting paid and you're not working in this town anymore.
Damn.
It's a bizarre thing, but we as a Western society have made sex so taboo to where it even makes us nervous answering this question. But
at the same time, it's glamorized in a subtle way.
It's teased. The teasing of it is glamorized. And yeah, we show it in movies and they're under the covers and you might even hear a moan here and there. But then if you pulled the cover up and you see a dick and a vagina, whoa, that's too much. Well, we were just watching you fuck.
Yeah.
We just didn't necessarily see it.
Right.
We'll even see a pair of boobs and it's artistic. But you see a cock. Whoa! Now, I'll agree with that one. I think even women would much rather see boobs than a dude's piece.
I mean, there's nothing good to look at there.
No, and I've heard even gay men say the female body is just so much more artistic and beautiful. Like, I think everybody would prefer, gay, straight, whatever, would prefer to look at a naked woman than a naked man.
Right.
Even if it's for no sexual purposes, they're just better looking.
Right.
Now,
I agree with that.
Not all women, not all men.
Right. But what comes to your head?
Boobs.
But no, I agree with that.
So as far as legalizing it and taxing it, I don't know. I don't think. I think a lot of these pimps would not be happy about that. They don't want to. They don't want to spend their money. They don't want to give their money up.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see it happening.
These pimps paying taxes? Doubt it.
Yeah, no. I don't see it happening.
Nor do I. We're too much of a Christian society for it to ever happen. And I hear people say, like, I wish we were as free as Europe. Europeans just have no shame. I've been to some European countries. I've had friends who have gone. And I'm not going to say it's wrong. It is so much different than America. But a lot of people I know who go, they're like, I don't like it. It's very bizarre.
I've been to France twice. I've never seen more homeless people in Paris in my life.
Parisians are not even representative of the French. Regular French people do not like Parisians.
Really?
Because they're dicks. They would have signs up. I saw this. Andrew Santino, a funny comedian, said on his podcast, somebody other than Rogan, there was signs in French like, hey, be nice to the tourists, please, because they're paying for a lot of this.
No shit.
Parisians are just nasty people. I've heard Paris is a glorified New Orleans.
I didn't have that experience.
How was... Explain. I couldn't get my words out.
I mean, I had a great fucking time. I mean,
you've got your cool-ass uncle, Lucien.
Right.
I remember him.
Yeah.
And we wanted him to, like, pay for a bunch of shit for us, like, send us to Paris.
He's, like, mad rich. I know.
Shut the fuck up.
He is.
Bubby, what did he call you?
Buddy GA.
Buddy GI. That's it.
Buddy
See,
GI.
I have a good memory, dude.
Yeah. That's why you should have kept acting.
Scene.
But he does the coolest job. Selling 19th century artwork, bro. Dude.
He's a fucking badass.
I know, dude. It's fucking
Smoking
sick.
cigars, drinking wine.
Cigarettes, Marlboro Reds, but...
Right, whatever. He probably smokes cigars, too.
But yeah, no, I went and, like, I don't know, maybe I was just too, like, holy shit the whole time. I didn't really pay attention to any rudeness I was getting. But then again, I was a little shit,
You also
too.
don't know
I was,
what
like,
they're saying to you.
I was skating my skateboard all over town, like, not giving a fuck. Like weaving through people and just... Yeah, for real. Like, I went and bought a skateboard at a skate shop there, because skateboarding's big in France.
Yeah.
And like, because what happened was I went, we stayed in Paris with my Uncle Richard. Then we went and stayed in Bordeaux with my Aunt Marenne. And then my Uncle Lucien came and visited, and he was like, Martine, that's my grandmother's name. Like, let him come with me to Paris
Let
again.
the boy come.
Let the boy come. And she's like, no, because my grandmother is Moroccan French. And
That's so cool.
I know. And
No.
she was like, no, she wouldn't let me go. And after a long night of convincing her, she finally gave in and was like, that's fine. And Lucien bought me a plane ticket right then and there.
Damn.
And we flew from Bordeaux to Paris, and I spent a week in Paris with my uncle.
We were friends then. I remember this.
Yeah. This is when I lived in Melbourne and I had my apartment and shit.
Yeah.
And I went, and it was fucking great. Like he,
You did it
took me
right,
to art,
though.
took me to art auctions, to like where he buys pieces and like super rare pieces of art. And he took me to a sale. You want to know how much he did an invoice?
Like a Sotheby's sale?
It was a transaction for 2 pieces.
How much?
$1.5 million
For both?
for both.
Jeez.
Yeah. And it was nuts. He took me to this house that he was helping his friend put up for sale, and he had me like take pictures of it. It was like a 5-story house in the middle of Paris, fully furnished. I mean, it was immaculate. It was something you see on Cribs. And I was just like, what the fuck? It was just so eye-opening. And I just explored the town. Like, he would let me go out and do whatever, and I'd ride my fucking skateboard around. And I don't know. It was just crazy. But I was also only 20 years old at the time.
Yeah.
I wasn't even 21 yet because I could drink while I was there. I remember it very
We might not have
clearly.
been friends.
No, we were, because I turned 21 while at Truthful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, not everybody gets the red carpet Parisian treatment like you.
Right. So I didn't.
We're
I
not
wasn't
all
like. I
spoiled.
wasn't like a tourist.
We don't
Like,
have
we got to
a
go back to
rich
the hotel.
uncle
I don't know where to
who
go.
will help us.
No, but you're right though. Like, I had the advantage because I have family that can speak French.
We tried taking French.
Who's we?
We? You and me.
When?
You didn't try learning French? I did.
Oh, I thought you meant like it together. I'm like,
No,
no,
I'm
no,
not
no.
gay.
No, I took French in 7th and 8th grade, and I took it in college.
You were taking it in college, and you
Yeah, because I was
inspired-
going to college while I was in acting class.
Yeah, and you inspired me to do Rosetta Stone.
Yeah.
I did it for 6 months.
Do you remember anything?
No.
Ah. Yeah, I mean, Duolingo's a good app for being free.
I still have it. Do I still have Duolingo? I think so, and I don't fucking use it.
I like Duolingo. I thought it was
I
the
do.
most extensive.
Bottom right corner.
I mean, it's got lessons and shit. Like, it seems like it'd take forever to finish it. But I gotta say, I was impressed for being a free app.
When's the last time you Duolingo'd?
Oh, probably like a year ago.
Exactly. So the key is...
But the drive isn't there, and I wish it was, because other parts of the world, they learn like 10 languages sometimes.
Because
like, they learn their language and they have to learn English.
Yeah, we don't have to learn anything else. It would be helpful. We'd have a lot more
Really,
opportunities.
Spanish would be nice to know.
Spanish here.
Here in Florida, Spanish.
How many more tours would you get if you knew Spanish?
Believe it or not, I don't get Spanish people that often, because I get northeastern United States. I get Jews.
Oy.
I get New Yorkers.
What if you learn Yiddish? I'm
Ain't gonna
kidding.
help.
What?
Oh, I thought that was like yodeling.
No, Yiddish is Hebrew.
Oh, yeah, no, they're the New York Jews. They know how to speak English very well.
And
They're
do you
like,
ever
I'm from
get-
New York. I'm fucking Jewish. I'm from New York.
Do you ever
I
get
only eat
the-
kosher. I got all my food with me.
Do you ever get the Hasidic Jews with the tassels?
We get those at Gatorland sometimes, and they're fucking annoying.
They're not.
Because
I've heard
they
many,
were
many
throwing
bad things about
rocks
them.
at the animals, and we're like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, and one time I felt bad, but like after the wrestling show, you know how we do the pictures with the gator like you did with Alexis and her brother? Well, I see every creed, every type of person. I think I've said that before. And one time we got the Jewish people with the little tassels on their shirts and shit, and like the little rat tails coming out the side.
Sideburns, yeah.
Right. You know, it is what it is. But I didn't know that was a Jewish thing. I was like, oh, what's with the tassels hanging from your shirt on the
You
microphone?
Cock.
Yeah, they didn't answer. But he didn't really hear. I mean, they're so fascinated by the alligator. But I was ignorant. I didn't know. And I found out later.
I just feel like I grew up knowing those are.
It was like my first. Well, you know what's ironic is my French family is Jewish. They are practicing Jews. Like my Aunt Marenne, we did the whole. What's the dinner on a Friday called?
Seder.
No,
Passover.
no. It's like a more common.
I don't fucking know.
But I wore a yarmulke, and
Right.
we all wore the yarmulkes, and like my Uncle Lucien, I'm pretty sure he's an atheist. I'm pretty sure he was like just chilling, but like we did the whole thing. And
He put it on?
huh?
He put on a yarmulke?
Yeah. He's like, hey, is it on? And then because my Uncle Richard, he's really a Jewish person because he just bought a house in Israel.
Israel
Yeah.
is somewhere I'd like to go.
Yeah, he lives there part time now. But yeah, so anyway, I didn't know that, and I made a fool of myself. But anyway, but the same family were throwing rocks at the goddamn tortoises, and I was like, guys, what the hell do you think you're doing? You can't be doing that. You can't be throwing rocks at the tortoises.
I've heard.
Why would you do that?
I've heard bad stories about them. A porn star, actually, bringing it all the way back around to porn, was saying there was a guy on a flight who like knew her and was like obsessed with her and like really creepy, and he was a Hasidic Jew.
Oh, really?
Bad boy.
Bad, he just gave himself away. Oh, God.
How often does your uncle get to the States, or never?
Not as much anymore. He's getting older. Yeah. You know he's my grandmother's twin.
I didn't know twin.
They're twins. They're identical twins.
Oh, so
and
I bet you their banter back and forth is probably funny.
Yeah. And comment allez-vous? They talk like rapid fire.
They
like
argue in
FaceTime
French?
and shit. Yeah, and my grandmother argues with all her siblings. It's
When's
great.
the last time you talked to him?
To Lucien?
Mm-hmm.
It's been a couple of years. I've talked to my Aunt Marenne because she talks to Meme, the most, and a couple other people. But he doesn't come that often. He used to be the mysterious uncle that would send us all like $100 bill at Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And we just knew he was like, oh, he's packing money. Because it's like, who the fuck is this uncle living in France that's sending us this money?
So you going there was the first time you met him?
No, he's been in the States before. I met him before. It's the first time because I went as a kid one time before too, but I was so small I don't really remember. I remember some things. But no, he came. He hasn't been to the States since I've been to France. I think he came one time when my other aunt died, because I only had one other great aunt who lived in Texas. My grandmother and that aunt, her sister, were the only two that lived in the United States. The rest still live in France. So I think when she passed, I think he might have came for that. But my sister's wedding's coming up, so I know a few of them are coming for that.
Who's getting married?
Oh, I didn't tell you?
Sydney?
Sid's getting married.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, she's getting married May 20th.
Is she older than you?
No.
What are you doing?
No, she's about to graduate college as a doctor, and she's about to be married.
Someone feels like a loser.
Dude, why you gotta rub it in?
I'm fucking
I do
with
live in
you.
my sister's shadow.
I live in my brother's shadow.
I know.
That's what this podcast
And
is
the
called.
sad part
Somewhat
is
in the shadows.
The sad part is my sister's younger than me. But no,
whatever.
So, yeah, she's getting married, and
Sydney supports the podcast. Shout out.
yeah, and but yeah, so they might come for her wedding, which is next year in May.
Get Lucien, get behind the mic. Do a little get some Marlboro
God,
Reds. We'll do
I
some
know.
talking.
That'd be cool. I don't know if he's coming though. We'll see. I know my Uncle Richard and a couple others are coming, which is gonna be cool. But yeah, no, that's crazy. Yeah, I forgot to tell you that part. Huh? Yeah, she's
There's a
getting
lot
married,
about
dude.
you I don't know, Randy.
Yeah, I got a lot going on.
Let's do this last question.
Well, we got another one.
It's from the Giant Hobbit.
Oh, the mutation or the genetic.
Should genetic engineering / cloning be legal and studied?
And what does he mean? Like cloning animals for the sake of just seeing if we can clone shit?
Yeah, is that illegal?
I don't know.
Technically, we're already genetically engineering things with like tofu and food. That's what GMO, genetically modified. People think tofu is all good for you. Tofu is genetically modified.
I'm not a fan of the GMO stuff because I don't like. I believe that leads to cancer in the long run.
I think so.
But I don't like when people inject the chickens and make them plump and fat.
There's a taste to them, man.
And have you ever seen a picture that's been genetically modified to be plump? They like can't even stand.
No, they're just all in. They don't move.
Yeah, and I hate that.
Because the more they move, the tougher they get.
Right.
Same with the cows.
I'm against that shit.
Like
I'm against all GMO. But I will say, cloning things to see if we can clone, I don't think that's a big deal, right? If you get some cell samples from a creature and just try and make another one, it doesn't affect the original creature, right?
They did it to Dolly the sheep.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I think it came out like autistic or something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's just trying to play God at that point.
It's a little strange. Here's a ethical question. Maybe it's not ethics. It's okay. Gathering my thoughts here. I don't like factory farming either.
Ah, man. Have you ever seen the video of all the chickens?
Yes, dude.
It's horrible.
Yet, how are you going to feed all these people?
Well, that's the fucking problem. That's where we're at. There's no other choice.
How do other countries do it?
Because they still know how to fucking farm and do things that we have the luxury of not having to worry about here.
I want it and I want it now.
I want it and I want it now. Yeah. Because I think about that all the time too. Because I'm like, I hate mass farming and mass like cows being shoved into cells.
Pigs are smart.
I hate that shit, man. Like, that's why Chris Pratt in his farm, he's letting his animals live like a great life, like his lamb and sheep that he's raising. He got all that land and shit. Like, I don't see anything wrong with eating your livestock after they lived a great life. I don't see anything wrong with that. But the way we do it here is like, get the fuck in there, Betty. And then, like, have you seen the videos that surface of people kicking the cows and just being absolutely cruel?
I can't watch them.
It's horrible. I can't stand it. And cows are, literally, when I saw the cow video of the ones like, you want to go play? And the cow was like being all happy. I was like, I can't do it. I can't watch these things anymore, man. Like, and that's the problem though. There's so many fucking people that got to eat. And the only way to do it quick and now, because guess what? At the end of the day, everyone cares about the money they're going to make from all of it. And the animals are going to come second every time. So, but in other places, you know, I think, but it's still like that in places like developed places like France and shit. Like, that's how they do it.
Oh, they've got their factory farming.
Yeah, they got their factory farming. Like, you know, but that's just, I don't know. It's just the slow erosion of this place we call home.
Okay, now step away.
I don't think there's any way to not do it at this point.
Step away from meats. We, over time, have genetically modified all our vegetables, all our wheat. Over in Italy, they eat pasta damn near every meal. Some sort of bready pasta product. Yet, they're not getting the celiac disease that we get. They're not having the allergic reactions. They're not getting heart disease. We have, because over there, they're still growing original wheat to make their pasta. That's why if you want to be like ketogenic or an Atkins type diet, I'm not comparing the two. I'm saying Atkins is like no carb. You can go on Amazon and buy like Italian pasta because it's real wheat. In the book Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, which this doesn't have so much to do with food necessarily. We're kind of getting into more European sensibility, which there's a lot of European sensibilities that I wish would be adopted here. They studied this group of people who lived the longest. They had the lowest rate of heart disease, lowest mortality rate across the board. They ate like shit, smoked cigars, drank a ton of wine. So they're like, what is it? And the main variable they found was these people, one, they walked everywhere. This was like a tiny Italian city, and then I think they migrated to Pennsylvania and made their own like Little Italy in Pennsylvania, this town. They walked a lot of places, and when they were walking, they'd stop and talk to somebody. And it was the sociability of it. And that's one thing we're missing in America is just stopping and talking to somebody.
That reminds me of that guy who captured photos of commuters in New York for like 10 years. Have you seen that pop up?
No.
And how the whole point was how mundane it was, and they all had headphones in and like sunglasses,
wow, no.
and they just walk to work and they don't stop for anything.
It's sad, and that's what is killing us, that stress more than anything else. And that's where Europeans, I think of Italians, because they're very passionate, social people, and they eat like shit. They don't eat well. They eat pasta. And so like pasta is still not great for you in big amounts.
Right.
But even above everything else, it's crazy to think something that seems so benign could really be the driving force to cancer and disease and obviously depression. That's what's really killing us, is the stress and the antisocial nature of America today. I don't like these America haters. I still think we are the greatest country because of we at least have the choice to either be social or be antisocial. But I think we'd see a happier America if people started making the choice to like slow down a little bit and go do things. That's where it sounds crazy, but podcasts are recreating that. When you and I are different, because I was about to say, when is the last time you sat down with somebody and just talked for like 3 hours? But you and I would do that a lot. We've had many podcasts that weren't ever podcasts.
Well, it's kind of what like started it.
Yeah, we would just talk for hours. Bullshit about acting. We'd be on the phone. It was borderline. I'm kidding. But so we're blessed to have that type of friendship. But outside of you or anything else, like when's the last time you just sat down for an hour and a half and talked to somebody? You don't. And there is a twistedness to it. We were talking about it with Stephen Whalen, where you feel like you have to monetize it. Like, we're filming this, recording it to put it out for people to like so we can sell ad money and we can make money. But I do want my living to be based off of something like this, doing something I love, because I love talking to people. I love learning about people. I love learning about things. And I like talking. But regardless of intent necessarily, we're still sitting down and talking.
Right.
And that's what podcasts, I believe, are encouraging, is getting people talking. And we've said this before, that's the problem with the state of affairs today, is nobody's speech is, one, getting censored, and two, censored to the point where you can't even talk. I'm not going to let you talk. I don't want to hear what you have to say. Since when was that cool?
Since 2019, I guess.
A little before that, probably.
I know.
Just why are we not talking anymore? Why can't we bring somebody who's so crazy one way or the other, who's still got their wits about them? I don't mean like crazy, but I want to hear these people out. That's why I like Steven Crowder's series, Change My Mind. Sometimes I think he goes in there with, he knows his mind. I don't think he's ever gotten his mind changed, because he says it hasn't happened once. And I've watched those videos, and sometimes there's people who sit down and articulate and give good points, but he's got an arrogance about him. I love him. I'm not hating on him.
But he has got an arrogance about him, for sure.
Yeah, where he thinks I'm right, and that's the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
And he also picks, well, no, he picks controversial issues. I can't say that. But I like series like that where, like, let's at least sit down and talk about it.
Yeah, I don't know. And it's weird to think, like, that you're talking about that Italian group of people that they did the study on. And, like, that was in Italy. That wasn't in America. They would walk, eat whatever, talk to their neighbor. It's all good. And then you think about America, like, supposedly the best. Like, all opportunities are possible here. But you get everything you want here. But if you don't have what they had, what does it all mean in the end? You know? It's almost like it's the simplest things that are going to make you live the happiest life. Because I will say America's the place to go to achieve your dreams and to build what you want to build and to build your empire, no doubt. But you gotta have the humanity with you along the way, and be able to take the walk and talk to the person, because when you arrive and you didn't have any of that, I mean, you're still missing something. And I think the economic opportunity here definitely is more abundant than anywhere else in the world. But it also shifts the focus to that.
Just economic.
Like come to America and build your legacy, essentially, you know? But, you know, being a good neighbor, or I don't even know, it's the small things that humans need, the social aspect. And I always think about this too. It's like even fucking alligators are social animals, you know? So we're definitely social creatures. And I think what happens here is because it's an economic powerhouse to achieve what you want to build, or build what you want to build and achieve what you want to achieve. And yes, you have to interact with people to do that. But like you said, it's all for monetization to build what you're building, and how much of it is actually genuine interaction that's just with no end game.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I'm not saying that it's not that there's none of that here, because obviously there's good, you know, there's neighborhoods where people are, I mean, I'm sure there's probably people here in America that are just like the group that was studied in Italy.
Right.
I'm sure there is, you know, it's probably in these small rural towns somewhere, and, you know, like, yeah, there's Bill down there, you know, and like everyone knows each other. There is probably that here, and they've lived nothing.
Quite a bit of them, I'm sure.
Yeah, quite a bit. But I think, you know, it's fucking, this is where dreams are built too. And I think because it's so free and so much here that you can accomplish, there's a responsibility to it too. Mm-hmm. And I feel like this is very oxymoron-ish, but I feel like the amount of liberty we have is sometimes our downfall, because it's almost too much to bear, and that's what causes like such extremes on both ends. Like, here you don't have to worry about it. All right, fat soda. You know, here you don't have to worry about it. You know, you can say what you want. You know, leads, you know, to nasty things being said and shit. But at the same time, it's like you need it, but then like, I don't know, I'm kind of messy on this point right now.
No, you're not.
But
America gives you just enough rope to either hang yourself with,
or climb to the top or something.
That's profound as fuck. We didn't make that quote, but I've never heard someone say or climb to the top.
What were you going to say?
Nothing. I was hoping you were going to have something, so that worked out great.
But that's kind of like what I think like about living here. It's like, you know, because in that little town in Italy, that's not where you're going to achieve certain dreams.
No.
It's not going to happen there.
You're going to be a shoemaker and
for like your block.
Yeah.
You know?
But
like, you're not going to go.
To them, they could be achieving their dreams. They're happy with that.
Right. It's all perspective. Mm-hmm. And I think here, because we, you know, things are glamorized and vanity and entertainment, like people want to be, sometimes those are dreams, and like fucking like I guess we're kind of guilty. Do we enjoy what we do? Yes, that's the difference though. Like, I'll do the shit I'm doing. I got no other plans, so I'm just gonna keep doing it, whether it happens or not. But yeah, would I like to build on it? For sure.
But many people chase the monetary success doing something they absolutely fucking hate because they love money.
Right, which you can do here in America. There's a lot of lucrative options to do things like that, and to build like, but I fucking hate my job. But like, you can still make a shit ton of money here doing something that you may not necessarily want to do.
Yeah.
And have the house and have everything you thought you wanted. But the journey, what happened on that journey to get there, Did you nourish your soul the whole way? You know, like this small Italian group did.
Yeah. I'm just not built that way where I can be doing something I don't want to fucking be doing. That's why I have to get on a podcast and bitch about it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be doing what I'm doing for other work besides, you know, being in the theater and this and stuff, but there are still rewarding aspects to it, and that's why it's hard to leave them, because it's like it gets annoying, but it gives me just enough to where it's like it's not so bad. I still get to talk to a bunch of people every day. I still get to do a show. It's not the show I want to do, but I still get to do those shows for people, and like people praise us at the end and they think it's great. And it gets old for us. We do it every day, the same shows, and I want to switch it up, but it's still rewarding and it's small doses still, which is cool.
It's good that you can look at it with gratitude. And
a lot of people see that and like, how'd you get into this? And I'm like, you know, it's like I feel bad like shitting on it.
Well, I wouldn't feel bad about that because you know there can be more. And it's jobs like that. I equate it to when I worked at Universal. It's like for some people, it's great. They want to do it, work there for life. If you're happy, you can provide. Who am I?
And that's your individual outlook on life, if that's right.
But it's jobs like that are like, and I'm not saying don't be grateful for it, but it's like it gives you the bare minimum of like, you're doing good. Or Universal, their trick was giving you these bullshit menial promotions where you're like, ooh, I'm moving up, a 2-cent raise. And they give you like a bunch of mini promotions, assistant to the regional manager type of bullshit to get you to stay, because you think, well, I'm moving up in the company, but you're moving little ant-sized increments.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not careful, you'll turn around and you're stuck there for 15 years, and that's not what you've always wanted to do.
Right.
So you got to take the leap.
And all that time is gone now, and you can't get it back.
Yeah, and you got to take the jump at some point.
But it also goes to show you how great it is to be here, where it's like there's so many options. And you can work in theme parks here. You can work with alligators here, especially Florida too. I mean, there's so much you can do. And then like, oh, you don't want to do this anymore? Go move to a different city. Achieve your dreams there. You know, go do that there. Like a lot of places don't have that luxury, man.
No, you could live in Rhode Island.
Like shit, you could live in even Australia, which sounds badass, but you know, like if I was going to stick with gators and shit, I could probably do something cool out there. But like here, you know, it's like, oh, I want to be a master horse trainer, move to Ocala. You know, horse capital of the world. I just was reading about that.
Yeah, man.
You know, but there's so many things like, oh, I want to get into the entertainment industry. Good luck. I want to be an actor. I want to be a singer. You move to LA and you duke it out, you know, with everyone else who wants to do it. You want to, you know, move to the mountains and open up a cannabis
weed
shop.
Dispensary.
Hey.
Did you just say cannabis?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Because I said a weed dispensary. I didn't know that's what you were going to go with.
Yeah, I went with cannabis.
We're on sync today.
And go to Colorado. The industry's booming there. You want to do music and stay in, you go to Austin. Like there's places all within our little country, hubs that there's opportunity, flourishing. You don't have that in other places, you know, where it's so diverse and so many different things to choose from. Like there's going to be a place in the U.S. for you to do what you want to do for the most part.
We're blessed.
Right. But it comes with great price, that freedom. And that's where self-control comes in. And like you have to like, you know, that's why people die, or not die, but that's why people get eaten alive when they go to their hubs. They get lost and they forget why they went there.
New York especially. That city will eat you alive.
You got to have laser focus, and then goes back to like, well, you got to nourish your soul while you have laser focus. You got to be able to talk to the person walking down the sidewalk. And you got to be able to, you know, know when it's time to work and it's time to like
hustle,
nourish. Yeah, you know, nourish yourself and still maintain your basic human needs on the journey up.
There's a lot to balance, but I think the key, which I'm practicing, I'm preaching to the choir here, a lot to balance, but take a step back and look at it one thing at a fucking time. That's the best thing I've learned from AA is one day at a time. And sometimes I need 1 hour at a time, 1 minute at a time.
Hey, if that's what works, then that's what works.
I'm like, I know I can make it 1 more hour of not drinking or getting high or whatever. And then you go to the next hour and you realize I did that hour, I could do another. And it builds upon that. That's good. All right. I think that's above 1.5 hours, my friend. Nice inspirational to send the people off with.
Yeah. And that came from the GMO question.
Thank you, the Giant Hobbit. Thank you to everybody who gave questions.
I don't like GMO.
Me either.
That's my reason.
So GMO prostitutes is the title of this episode. Ask your questions. I'll probably post another story later this week for more questions to be asked. I like the question format. What about you?
I like the question format. Yeah, it's great.
So
we don't have to do it every time, though.
No.
I want to talk about what I want to talk about sometimes.
Well, we always kind of end up talking about what we want to talk about.
That's true.
And
That's true.
I think it's about damn time we get another guest on. So are you going to shoot that at me?
No, I'm going to shoot at the camera.
All right. Shoot it at the camera and we're out of here. Peace. You missed. You
Shit.
sucked. I'm not letting you relive another. We're out of here.